Hello, everybody. How's it going? We're on for another live draw. I was supposed to come in on yesterday and do this one, but I didn't, so I'm gonna do it today and then give y'all the other one for today as well. So this is Superboy. As I told you guys, if you've been paying attention to the last couple of videos, uh, Young Justice, the comic from the '90s, is making a comeback next year. And so I thought, since I've been doing, teenage superheroes, I thought Young Justice would be a good group to kind of go through and do. So I figured what I'd do is I'd pick up the Robins next week instead. So that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, so this is Superboy, Connor Kent. This is one of the members of the Superman Corps that kind of came out during the whole Death of Superman thing, where each one was supposed to represent a certain part of Superman. There was the youthfulness of Superman. And so Connor was a clone created through a couple of different channels. He was created initially, for what we understood, through Cadmus as a part of the Superman experiment. It was that he was not only a clone of Superman, but for part of his DNA, they needed human DNA, so they cloned Lex Luthor. So part of his programming and everything came from Lex Luthor as well, which is interesting as well because in the comics there was a point where Luthor had hid some programming in him, where he activated a certain keyword or whatever that Connor would begin to become under control of Luthor. So that's the way they played with that to the point where it's kind of one of those things where they went through and everybody trusted him, and then he eventually became controlled and manipulated by Lex as a result of that. And so Connor's gone through a lot of changes at different times, but this was the costume that he initially came into Young Justice with. It's also the costume when he initially went into the Superman, the reign of Superman, as it were. He was in this costume at that time. So if you wanted to capture that kind of youthful '90s thing, and then of course when they announced the new Young Justice, they went back and showed the outfits, and they were actually going back to the costumes that they were in. So today we're gonna do both Superboy and Impulse, and then tomorrow we'll do Robin, and it'll be the Tim Drake version of Robin that was the leader of Young Justice. So, and also a really good friend to Connor. So it was interesting. It kind of played this whole idea of world's finest with them to a point where it was kind of Superboy and Robin. Are kind of going to be the answer to what Batman and Superman were in a lot of ways. So they actually did a thing. I believe Jeff Loeb's son, when he passed, they did a wrote called World's Finest. And so they did this whole thing where basically he was Robin, and Superboy had to team up to do something to help Batman and Superman out because they couldn't be involved for whatever reason. They might have been tied up with some stuff with the Justice League or something, and so then um, Connor and Robin had to work together on the case. So that was the reason why they refer to it as World's Finest, which is usually a title that's reserved kind of for Batman and Superman. But again, it was a thing that they did in honor of him and his life after he passed away. And so they definitely did this story, and I thought it was one of the coolest stories I've ever seen. They also did a thing in that story where they basically met up with the new Toy Man that was actually from an older story of the world's finest book that him picked up some stuff, ended up helping save some people and giving the new Toy Man an opportunity to really shine and grow. Hey, how's it going? Glad to see you. Glad to see you all tonight. How was work? Did you work today? I don't know. I'm not sure if you worked or if she was off. Just going in and doing some erasure so we can see some things a little bit clearly in his face. I've got to go in and do the hair, so I'm not quite done. Connor especially, it was funny because whenever you saw Connor's hair was, he always kind of had it shaved off. on one side, and then he would give dots on things. So that way it's kind of like it was kind of always shaved. Yeah. I'm kind of trying to create that thing there. School, gotcha. Well, yeah, I would hope not. Saturday, I didn't even think on the whole school thing. So yeah, this video is gonna be a two-parter. It's gonna have Superboy as well as Impulse from Young Justice. So just as kind of a reminder. By the way, speaking of reminders, guys, we'll be doing the next round. Participants in the comment section below. No or understood how YouTube does the thing when they do the whole comments live, because that's later whenever I'm going in and looking at the comments live and stuff. So I don't quite understand how that works, if they show up in the regular comment section or not. So if you don't see this live, make sure you comment on it, because Monday I will be doing the next phase of the contest, next week of the contest, for the sketchbook that'll be out at the beginning of November. So for Inktober, and it will not just include the sketches you're seeing. It will include a bunch of other sketches. If I've counted right, it looks like it's going to be around 60 something pages worth of different drawings that I've either done in the past, drawings that you haven't seen me do, and I have to do have to get the next sketch set up. Sorry about that, since I'm doing two drawings in this one. So, and there's Impulse. So, who is Impulse, you're asking? Impulse is Bart Allen. Is a character that was done in the Flash comics, and Impulse was a character that was from the future. And he basically is, he introduces himself to the Flash world as his own grandson, so to speak. So, Barry, of course, it's as, Bart. He's like, oh, I'm your grandson from the future. And it's all like, what do you mean? And of course, time travel, you got to be real careful about telling people too much stuff. And I know in Young Justice, they had him introduce himself on the night whenever Iris was going to announce that she was pregnant. And so it's kind of interesting how that worked. But anyway, so Impulse, as the name suggests, Impulse is very not ordered. Is the answer to the $50,000 question: what do you do when you have a kid who's in the Speed Force and he comes out of the Speed Force and tries to interact with the rest of the world? He literally lives on an impulse. He is not very organized, not very structured. He is loyal to his friends, but he's definitely a lot more of the natural comic relief that comes with Young Justice. And he's kind of he also kind of tends to be the one to jump ahead and see what's going on, even if you know, even if he's not sure exactly what's happening or how to fix what's going on. He may not know what to do, but he definitely knows, he needs to look interesting sometimes how that'll work. And he was trained up by Max Mercury, who was one of the other members of the Flash family. And so he was kind of raised by him on our world so that he a speedster and everything like that. So that's kind of the point of him. But in Young Justice, he's kind of doing the whole, I'm trying to be my own person, him trying to do my own thing. And then the next thing you know, he eventually did, and then became Impulse. And eventually he ended up at one point becoming the Flash in our world. So he actually was the Flash for a little while. I don't remember exactly what went down. I don't remember if he ended up getting killed or something like that. But I do remember that, he was a Flash for a period of time. I think he might have gotten killed by a villain by the name of Inertia. I think I do vaguely remember him dying. So, as a matter of fact, I think Wally West, who was the second original Flash, and then Barry Allen was very upset about the fact that Bart had died. So Anyway, this is Impulse. Impulse is the second main member of this team that they started off, and it was really truly a boys' club in a way because when the team initially started, it was just the three guys, and then eventually, over the course of the books, you met Wonder Girl, you met Arsenal, I believe her name was, and then you met Secret. And then they also did this thing where eventually you had another girl named Empress, who her dad worked for like the FBI, and they were trying to. Yeah, I read a lot. I, I read a lot. Trust me. I don't know it just because. I mean, I figure if I'm talking about these characters and introducing them to you guys, I have to make sure to know something about the people that I'm doing. You know, the people I'm talking about. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But anyway, so Impulse basically, comes here. That's really cool too because I talked about Young Justice earlier. I do collect comics. I do read comics. I've read comics ever since I could read. Actually, as a matter of fact, when I first started learning how to read, I learned how to read through reading Superman comic books. So that's kind of a little bit of a story of how I eventually learned a lot about the world of comics and stuff. So, yeah. I have to go back in and hit some of these higher points now to pop these moments out in front now. Wanted to kind of get that really nice, cool shade effect. His bolt was like a dark red bolt, so make sure to capture a lot of that in there. Pull that out of the side. Get the mask on. Another cool thing about Bart that I always loved was his sense of humor. He was one of the ones he could laugh no matter what. Even when the team would go through some pretty bad situations, and he was definitely the comic relief, but he was also the heart of it. I remember when they found Secret, and Secret would talk about how her past and all this different stuff. He was the one that kind of kept her from losing her mind in some respects. And I'm glad they're bringing the book back. I really think that's going to be really cool to see how they do that. Because it'd be cool to kind of see the stories of those heroes, especially like I said, since I do believe Bart did pass away in the DC universe. But then again, New 52, you can always bring stuff back. And that's the thing about whenever they reboot comics, they can always find ways to bring stuff back that wasn't available to them before then. So. Anyway, Bart Allen, as I mentioned, was part of the Speed Force. He trained a lot in the future so he could run really, really fast, almost as fast as the other Flashes. So it's really kind of cool to see how that worked. I play video games, but I'm not nearly as cool as a lot of people when it comes to playing video games. I've been playing a lot of Warframe, which is a free-to-play game on PS4. So I've been playing a lot of that. When I got my PS4, I picked up WWE 2K18. And so I've been playing a lot of that. Of course, I probably won't pick up, the 2019 game unless I can find it on sale somewhere because I'm not willing to pay $80 and $90 for it. Because if I wanted to buy it, I definitely would like to buy the version that has all of the DLC already included. Because of course they always put out a version where it's like, okay, you can get this version and then you can pay this extra $20 or $30 to get the DLC packs, or I could just get the version that already has the DLC loaded. So there we go. There is Bart Allen, one of the fastest beings alive in the land of the DC universe, along with his friend Connor Kent, the Superboy. So anyway, guys, tomorrow I'll be drawing Robin. Do me a favor, make sure we're leaving those comments down below. I really want to hear from you guys because, like I said, that contest is still going on to the end of the month. I like going out on games together. Yeah. Well, listen, y'all have a good night. Thank you for letting me draw with me tonight and everything. Glad we're able to do this together. And I'll be back on tomorrow with the Robin one. Anyway, guys, be blessed. Be a blessing to somebody, guys. Take care.